Ring, ring, ring. Hello, pimps and vegans.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Oh, happy 420. Huh? Yes?
Welcome. That was very considerate of you.
Thank you. Welcome back to Krown's magical Doom Cave.
No, it's the 420 cave today. What are you talking about right now? Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crate. It says it doesn't look like a 420 cave. What should we do? Should we put on like Rasta House or some shit? Oh, it doesn't look good for Bitcoin, says Elsa. Elsa Analysis says Bitcoin is wrecked, but we're going to be getting to that soon enough. Man, there is plenty to talk about today as we really actually set up for the next... I'd say the next 5 days to come, to be quite honest with you. Today, a little bit of busting action perhaps, but ultimately this is really a setup for the next 5 days, I do suspect. So with that in mind, wishing everyone a nice and healthy and happy and Sofu Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. A nice little holiday as well. And I suspect that there's going to be a lot of good conversations going on given the times. Timo420. What the fuck, man? It's like your name was made for this. Timo420. Definitely Finnish, by the way, because that is a Finnish name, I do believe. And I see a lot of familiar faces in here, which is always good. Mr. Alex Switch, good to fucking see you, man. Man, it's always good to see your face. Hope everything's going well in your side of the world. Mr. Migto, Biologic, Lisa, happy 420, happy 422 as well. Brian K, Weed Journals. What the fuck? We have Timo420. We have Weed Journals, and there he is, fucking Derek M. Look at his avatar. Just look at his goddamn avatar. It is a marijuana leaf. A marijuana leaf. Crazy. Anyways, good times, man. Good times indeed. Did you see how it went up? It went up indeed, man. It went up indeed. Although we are still operating within an overall range. So I do suspect that it's time to kind of temper down the expectations, because I do see a lot of excitement within this market, which could very much be validated, but I am waiting for something very specific, same shit as before, to be quite honest with you. But ultimately, wait, what is this over here? What is this over here? Echoes Yen says, Hail Elsa, full of grace, the simps are with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and what the fuck? How do you know that she's a woman? And blessed is thy team of mods. They are quite nice. Holy Elsa, girlfriend of Krown, pray for us virgins now and at the hour of our liquidations. Amen. Amen, Bear Jesus. Take us out now as we celebrate the old good days. What's up, Mr. Senegra? Yeah, let's look at Dixie. That would actually, I'm going to add that to my analysis over here. Let me actually just take a quick look so that I can set up my charts for that before we get there, so it can be nice and flowing. Yeah, that's that's interesting. A little bit of bearish divergence for me. This actually is a pretty good place for a pullback, so I suspect that probably does help out the old boo laws there, so we can add that to the short-term potential boo law case. But let's go back here in the meantime. So let me just add this to my noties, and there we go. I was actually reading a conversation on Twitter right before this stream that kind of caught my attention, because let me just adjust this really quickly. And sorry if we're not getting into the analysis as soon as possible, but I thought that this was really interesting, because there was this whole Twitter thread. I forget who it was, but it was a big CT account, maybe ice bags, I'm not sure, but he was basically saying that crypto Twitter is delusional, because they don't think, or people typically don't think, that $2 million is a lot of money. And it's just very interesting to see the responses and see the conversations going on. And I'm not sure how accurate that actually is. Maybe people are kind of trolling, maybe people are not trolling, but I don't know, man. Are we so fucking disconnected from reality looking at this magic internet money that $2 million is not like a big deal? I mean, shit, man. $2 million, that is certainly life changing. I mean, fuck, when I was broke, any amount of money was life changing. And if I ever get broke again, I'd be much more happy to have 200, or sorry, not 200, but yeah, 200 would be fine. But $2 million would be great as well. It's just interesting to see these sort of justifications for why it's not a lot. It's holy shit, man, we are really spoiled. Holy fuck, man, that is insane. And it's just one of those things, man. I figure that people perhaps who have that sort of a thought process, maybe they were kind of born on the silver spoon, something like that. Definitely possible. Of which, when I was younger, I always kind of, especially when I was below 18, I was always kind of envious of those who had more than me, especially those who were born into families that basically gave them everything, and they never literally had to work. And I also ran into a lot of people like that, especially in college. There was a lot of people, because I went to University of Oregon, so in order to go to University of Oregon, if you were out of state, which I actually was myself, you had to pay a shit ton of money. And so there was a lot of just like absolutely astronomically rich kids from California who grew up on the silver spoon, basically, you know, living in the Hollywood Hills next to celebrities, and they'll never have to work a day in their life. But what I always noticed about these people is that, and maybe this has changed now. I mean, obviously this was, you know, more than 10 years ago, which is kind of crazy. Hey, what's up, Josh? Happy 420 to you as well, my friend. Yeah, we'll get into that soon enough. But these guys, like, they always seem to have kind of an issue with dealing with somewhat, you know, relatively not big deal things. And while I used to be kind of envious of those people, especially in my younger years, nowadays I'm kind of like, I kind of feel bad for them, because without that like early struggle, you will probably become the kind of person who, one, can't do their own fucking laundry, of which I certainly know many people like that, and then two, you know, you think that $2 million is not a lot of money. I mean, like, fuck. Like, I think even if you have $100 million, $2 million is still quite nice now, isn't it? You can do a lot with that, of course. Anyways, I'm gonna take a few more sippy sips of this caffeine over here, and we'll get into it. And then we'll get into it soon enough. Kenneth Key says, "Dude, get to it! Get to it, man! This free content sucks! I'm out! I'm leaving! Fuck you." Sorry, man. Hey, I can't. Look. Have to have a little bit of fun with it. This is a live stream after all. We're just having a good time, man, shooting the shit, chatting. If you really need to get the content and you don't want anything else, just wait until, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours from now. I'll upload just the analysis, as I always do. It's literally the same fucking formula every goddamn time, man. So if you don't have the patience for that, all good, man, all good. But you can just watch it later, and it'll be only the analysis and nothing but the analysis. So there you go. Dude, get to it. Fuck off. How about just leave? Like, Jesus Christ, man. Anyways, you sure, Joe? Need a few more of this. Yeah, man, you know, it's always good to kind of shoot the shit, and I want to work on this coffee over here and make sure that I got all my charts set up for the analysis that actually does flow nice and easy here. So let me just make sure over here, good, and over here, of which, yeah, open interest actually just wow, completely engulfs the last few days. So we're back around 13 billion. Jesus Christ, man. Oh, that's going to be rather interesting now, isn't it? Duck Nation, hey, you're from Morgan too. Sweet, man. That was a fun time. That was a fun time in life. Krown hold on. What is this right here? Krown coin made Coinbase made a new all-time low. Let's see. I actually have not looked at Coinbase in a while. I don't know how much how much like weight I put on it for like, you know, overall analysis. Anyways, it is interesting to watch. Like, you would expect exchanges to be healthy if Bitcoin's going to be healthy as well. Yeah, I think it's putting it low, but it very likely rallies from here. But again, rally not the same thing as a reversal for some that's literally only ever gone down. So rallies probably get arrested somewhere around like 170 to 180. Anyways, I'm getting out of my own way right here. My apologies on that. Let's set this back up over here. Okay, good. And we got 316 likes on this video. That's amazing. Thank you for all of the likes on this content, even for the people who just want to get to the content. Fair enough, man. Hey, you're entitled to want whatever you want in life, of course. But you know, just understand that we're kind of just hanging out right now. We'll get to the analysis soon enough. I got a lot more coffee here to kind of work on. Should probably do the old get to it. It's like it's like, you work for me now, bitch. It's like, what the hell? When busting action, says Avish Patel. When busting action? That's a good question, man. When busting action? I too would like to know when the busting action is. Well, it depends what you define as busting action. I think that we saw a little bit of busting action yesterday, but if you're looking for the big bust, I think it probably comes in the next 5 days. I think that we're probably looking at the next 5 days, if that. And what's up, Nikki Page? I see you over there. Elizabeth J. When Krown Kush. The zombie weed. Good times indeed. But man, I cannot deal with that. Ever since like getting older, into my 30s, no more, no more. Anyways, Jay Powell speaks this week. Yeah, market always moves on that. Nina. Ken snaps his finger at waiters too. It's like, off to the kitchen with you, garçon. Bring back this meat. What the fuck, man? Anyways, I just got a few more over here, and then we'll get right into it. Mr. Calafrios, good morning to you as well. Stephen Conroy, Mr. Michael L, Captain Ahab. Putin is going to nuke Finland. What? Why? Why us? Crypto OG always leaving some very intense comments. Thanks for that, man. Appreciate that. But we'll get to it when we get to it, man. Should probably do the old Bybit chill as well because we are going to Monaco with them, hopefully, assuming that my residence permit gets sorted out. So hit the old Bybit chill, go get wrecked over there. Just kidding, but if you are going to go get wrecked, use my link before that so that. No, just kidding, man. Look, at the end of the day, with all these leverage exchanges, the reason why they give you deposit bonuses is because they know that it's going to get you onto their exchange. You get hooked, you get addicted to trading. You spend all your money there, kind of like a Las Vegas at home, and well, usually doesn't end too well. So as always with all these other exchanges, despite the deposit bonus, which I think they're offering like $3,000 to $4,000, I should probably check like what actually is it. I think it's $4,000. Don't fucking do it if you don't already have like a winning strategy. You're not gonna like magically become profitable just by jumping onto a leverage exchange. All right, sweet. Just a couple more sippy sips over here. Somehow a piece of my own hair got into my coffee, which is concerning. Oh, and I have my Star Wars cup today too. We watched the episode number 5 last night. So we've been going in chronological order. We started off with Phantom Menace. Then did those 3, and then are now doing the next 3. And Elsa like hates like the original series, which is kind of funny because usually most people think that episode 5 is like the best one. It's too old. When are you getting the new house? We actually visited it a few weeks ago. And it's almost done, but like the building is not. So like our apartment within it is almost done. I think September to October is when it's slated to kind of be finished. So soon enough. Of which I'm really excited for that because we're gonna have a nice little new view for the streams here, and things should be, well, not all that different to be quite honest with you, but I'll be quite happy with it. And what's up, African Crypto Warlord? Good to see you, man. Good to see you indeed. No drinking. Next, should I also stop breathing, sir, as well? Permission to inhale. All right, there we go. There's the end of that. I'll slide this. Maybe that's not a good idea. Let's keep it over here. Give it to you. I give it to you. Okay, there we go. Star Wars Cup is nice and safe. Let's get to the analysis. All right, so here we start off with Bitcoin as usual, and I want to follow up on first the low-term timeframes, of which Bitcoin hitting the top side of the short-term timeframe range highs in this case. That's going to be right around that 41,500-ish region on a closing basis. Thus far, no closures above there, so I still do not look at this as a resolution. And while I think a lot of the market right now is getting rather excited for this move, which, hey, a $2,000 move off the lows is a big deal, obviously. Has anything actually changed from a market structure perspective? No. Bitcoin's still more or less ranging on the lows, and in the short-term timeframes we do have kind of the same range as yesterday as well. 41.5 to the upside versus about 41 sorry, not 41 but 40. I was saying 40,200 yesterday. I'd actually maintain with that, although more aggressive people will look at about 40,500 now that we do see a little bit of a potential higher low in the short-term timeframes right around that region. But ultimately, as long as Bitcoin's offsetting between this region, I wouldn't necessarily be looking at any sort of busting action. Now, to reference the title of this video, I do believe that there will be some busting action probably within the next 5 days. When I refer to busting action, I do expect a break either of this area right here, which very likely does lead towards the same target that we've been speaking about for the past couple days, relevant on a range resolution above about 41.5 on CME, that is. CME, and let me actually just double check. Sorry, no, that is 41.6 on CME. I think it's more around 41.5 on spot price action. With that in mind, if Bitcoin were to take out that level, while there very likely will be stops along the way, I would be looking for a move somewhere around the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement at about $43,000 even on CME. Do I think that things could trade up higher from there over time? Yes, absolutely. But I would be looking for, more importantly, a lovely pullback first from there, perhaps even as low as about $42,000 after that, and then very likely mounts an assault at that 618 on a bearish retracement about just above $44,000. That is where I do put the bear trap long-term macro case gets confirmed, which is just a long way of saying that's where I look at a long-term macro bear trap confirmed. Sorry, that was quite verbose. But in this case, as long as Bitcoin's below here, I do still look at the long term as having risk to the downside. And technically speaking, from the higher term timeframes, the probabilities do remain to the downside as long as Bitcoin is below that $44,000 to $45,000 pivot. Big 5-day closure coming a little bit later today, but we'll get to that in just a second here. Before that, I kind of want to round off the Boolah-ish case, the short term Boolah-ish case first. And if we're going to do that, then I need to go over here to Dixie. Actually, shout out to Mr. Sinead Allegra for calling this one out because I forgot to mark it down myself. And what do we have? We do have a move into the blue box territory that we'd highlighted out over the past. I mean, realistically, we highlighted it like way back over here in November on the breakout. That move has now happened. We've seen, we've seen the full on measure move hit deep inside that region. So I would be looking for a pullback from there, and I believe that likely does help out Bitcoin versus the dollar. So that would be obviously more on the bullish side, but still, the most important thing is I need to see a closure on CME above 41,650, I think it is, or on spot price action above about 41,550 or so. If we start to get that, if Bitcoin starts to do that, more importantly, or more accurately said, I would be looking for that next leg up somewhere around the 0.5, which is about $43,000, and that's going to sort of change around the medium-term time frame picture. Still, however, again, anything below 44 to 45, I do look at as, general risk to the downside more long term. Anyways, in this case right here, how low does this one pull back after hitting this region? Well, we are hitting essentially a monthly region right here. So this is probably going to happen over time, but I actually would be looking for this to pull back down definitely, or I shouldn't say definitely, but very likely below 100, probably somewhere around 99.5 is where I'd be looking for. Quite likely. Now in this case, I am going to draw a fib from the breakout, or let's just move this over here for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a fib from the breakout and kind of track what would be a bullish pullback in this case. And in this case, we do actually see some interest right around about 98.7 and 97.7, which would be, a rather big move. That probably does happen over the, perhaps over the next few months. Now, again, I want to be so damn clear in stating this, that while I am looking for a pullback on Dixie, I am not long-term macro bearish. Long-term macro, I am massively bullish on this. We do see hidden bullish evidence going all the way back to the last few major macro lows, and we've seen the lowest volatility reads that we've ever seen on Dixie. On the quarterly, that is, as I turn the volume down right there. And that, alongside that hidden bullish evidence, very likely does get resolved to the upside. And I would probably be looking over the next few years, maybe a little bit longer than that, since this is a quarterly, so it's probably going to take a long time, somewhere around about $1.10 or so, give or take about $1 from that number. Long term, though, still does remain within an overall downtrend, but this is a quarterly, so these things can play out for a very, 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 very long time. And technically speaking, the macro trend of Dixie has been inversely correlated to Bitcoin. Now, with that in mind, again, I do want to say that when we are looking at Bitcoin, it's best to look at Bitcoin if we're going to be judging and trading Bitcoin itself rather than looking at Dixie. But it does kind of help round out the Boolah case right there. Anyways, let me just reference my my notes over here. And yes, now let's get into the more nuanced understanding of this, because I do think that this is really, really important right now, to be quite honest with you. So first and foremost, one of the reasons why I am still more on the, let's go over the bullish case a little bit more. There's a few more things over here on CME. For CME, as long as Bitcoin does remain above that last higher low, which is about $39,000, there is still hope, or it's not necessarily that there is still hoping here. There quite literally is hoping right here. I mean, you are within the midst of creating 1, 2, 3, 4 higher lows in this case. And typically speaking, when you are going to see a reversal on any time frame, for example, you typically see your higher lows first or your lower highs first if you're going to reverse, from an uptrend, from a downtrend to an uptrend, or an uptrend to a downtrend, respectively speaking. And in this case, we're starting, we obviously have a slew of higher lows, not just on the daily, but all the way up to potentially a weekly right here, 1, 2, 3 going on. So as long as Bitcoin does hold above that, the Boolahs do still have the hopium that this actually is a reaccumulation formation right here. Probably takes a very, very long time. Resolution above on a higher term time frame, $44,000, very likely does imply targets up deep into the 50s, probably around 56 to 50 to $60,000, to be quite honest with you. If we do throw on a fib over here, you will notice that the macro fib retracement would show the 618 right around that region. And again, this is a bear retracement just because this was a downtrend right here, but that'd be a high quality target on the actual breakout out of this structure. Until then, though, that is alive as a potential, but I do want to express that I am, I do consider that there are higher probabilities of a breakdown from here rather than an actual major macro low. The reason why is because of this chart still hasn't gone away. But here's the thing: the 5-day chart is closing today. It's closing today at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Then we get a new 5-day, obviously, and that next 5-day, I do think is probably gonna be the one that actually does start to expand off of these volatility lows. So remember, anytime that we have seen 5-day BBWP, essentially volatility in the teens or lower than that, the expansion phase from there has had a pretty major effect on price action, typically getting about 45% to the upside or the downside from that expansion moment. And you'll actually notice on all of these past iterations that once you get that first tick up, it actually jumps up like 20 or 30 percentile in one go. So once you actually get that first move, it happens rather fast, to be quite fair. And you typically do find that the totality of the move is had within the following just over 40 days or so. So about 45% in 40 days. We've still yet to see the expansion though. So I've been getting some questions about this, like, Krown, when 40% move? It's like, you have to realize that you can't be looking for it, or at least I would not be looking for it, until you see this first tick up right here. Right now, it's actually still ticking down. And I've kind of drawn a LARP line on this one to show what it would likely look like when you do get the expansion. So we're going to get another tick on this tonight. If you see that start to turn up, that's going to be a good sign that we probably do see resolution on the macro. Perhaps this next five, perhaps maybe a little bit longer than that to 10 days, but very likely within the next 5 days if that starts to happen. So until then, the countdown to the 40 days doesn't really start, and it's actually a little bit over 40 days. And at the end of the day, again, remember, these are statistics that we're looking at. They are not going to be like a 100% infallible crystal ball, if you will. So the reason why I do say that the probabilities are still on the downside here in comparison to the upside is simply because of this. The 5-day stochastic momentum has accurately gotten the direction on that volatility expansion, especially on like the first tick up from it, extremely well for the last couple of years here. And we can even go further back than that, obviously, but I figured that this is just easiest to see. And as you can see, right now, it is nice and healthily down, even playing out a bit of a trendline regression rejection here, and we can forecast the price action level that would be needed in order to force it back up. So until Bitcoin closes above this region, which is closing today at 45,550, well, that will remain with downside momentum. So it would follow that the volatility expansion from this region, as long as that condition is met, likely comes with downside price action, which obviously is probably not what a lot of people want to hear. But the problem is that as long as this setup is available in its current form, I do believe that there is more downside risk than upside at the current moment in time. Again, this is the major condition right here, 45,550. This number is going to change upon closure tonight. Here would be this would be a really, really good signal that it is going to not be to the upside, and by contrast be to the downside. The actual move itself is if you see the level that is needed to make the stochastic cross to the upside, if you see that go up, so if upon closure it goes up to like 46,000 or 47,000, that's going to be a really, really good signal that it probably does eventually come back down, and we do see this volatility expansion with big downside movements. The problem with this whole thing is that we have to kind of fit this into the picture of short-term timeframes, medium-term timeframes, and high and macro timeframes. Obviously, these are very high-term timeframes. So let's now go down to the short-term timeframes here, and I want to follow up on yesterday's price action analysis as well. Remember yesterday we were saying, hey, look, this move short-term looks good. Yes, likely test the top side of the range. The day before that, I was biased to the downside. I was very much wrong about that. I want to be very honest about that as well, because well, there's nothing wrong with that, to be quite frank. But in this case right here, if we look at CME, just testing up to the 55 right now, getting the range highs, and more importantly, the same things that we were looking at yesterday are still available here. And what were those? That was potential hidden bearish divergence, which is still very much available on the 4-hour upon confirmation of a local high, and the 6-hour as well. So this goes all the way up to a 6-hour, 1, 2, 3 drives even. If we go over here to a 12-hour, I'm curious to see if it's going to be there. And yes, hold on. Yes, it would be there if Bitcoin does confirm a local high here. So how would Bitcoin confirm a local high, thus confirming that hidden bearish divergence, thus confirming targets back down very likely to the bottom side of our range right now, which is about $39,000, is this. I would go down here to an hourly, actually, and if I'm using an hourly, I would say anywhere below, especially 40,300 on CME would do it for me. If I'm a little bit more aggressive, I'd say 40,400, basically 40,500, or sorry, what is this wick low right here? 40,000, basically 40,400. Okay, close enough in this case. If that does happen, I would be looking for Bitcoin to retest its lows of the week, probably another short-term bounce there, and then very likely sets it up for continuation in the following week or two towards, new new lows, somewhere down around about 37,000 bucks is where I'd be looking for the next, major bounce, if you will. On top of that, we would naturally see that stochastic momentum would also turn down naturally alongside those signals if confirmed, which again are, just like yesterday, are present but not confirmed, which is very fucking important, because obviously until they get confirmed, well, there's no trade set up as far as I'm concerned. Not that I actually even use that, or I do trade divergences here and there, but that is not the crux of my current strategy. Anyways, in this case, we do see the 6 hour is going to turn down on CME below 40,900. The 4 hour is going to be turning down below 40,900 as well. So we see that number coming up a couple times already. 3 hour is probably already down, very, very close to being down. Will turn down officially below 41,550, and hourly is probably flippy floppy and maybe even up right now. No, it's actually nosediving below 41,550 as well. So I would go as far as to say that if you do see, especially the 4 hour and 6 hour resolve below 40,900, we're very likely going to come down and test around those range lows, as I said right here, between about, let's just say it's 40,400. I think that that's honestly good enough in this case. And well, that would probably be, a very good early warning signal that, like kind of like a red flag or yellow flag, whatever the color is, I don't even know, that Bitcoin probably does put in the local high right there. Again, full on confirmation is below about 40,400. And then, yes, I would be looking for, basically the week's lows to get retested and, probably further down from there, to be fair. Over time. But for right now, we do see that a move is very likely building up today. We do see extremely low volatility conditions on the hourly, on the 4 hour actually trending up right now. And then I think on the daily, we are incredibly low as well. No, but on spot price action, we should be. And yes, we are. And by the way, this low volatility reads on spot price action on the daily specifically for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And again, we can probably back test further than that. Has led towards 20% moves on average from that expansion, typically doing most of that move in the first day. So again, we haven't necessarily seen it just yet. I want to see that have a first tick up, but it would be relevant to say that we could very easily see that today. In fact, I would say that we probably see it today or tomorrow, Thursday, that is. Anyways, other than that, let's see. So yes, I think we spoke about that. We spoke about targets. We spoke about that. Okay. And then the other thing that maybe I might want to bring up is perhaps funny rates, I guess, on the short-term timeframes, trending up a little bit here. Again, I don't really look at it as like super concerning just yet, but if that starts to, if we start to see a local high confirmed plus these sort of reads, yeah, I would be looking for the next kind of big move down. Problem is that I don't think Bitcoin would have like one of those major shattering moves to the downside. So here I kind of have to, temper expectations. When looking at the higher term timeframes like the daily, we do see that daily stochastic momentum is, it's gonna be hard to kind of really force this one down like big in the short term, if that's even gonna happen at all. And then the 2 day kind of same thing as well. Actually, the 2 day is pretty still nosedivey right there. So maybe I take that back. But ultimately, the ranges are pretty well set, and well, just a little bit of patience. I suspect in the next 24 to 36 hours or so, we probably do have resolution on this one, and probably see the 5-day signal start to play out as well, which I'll be very much intently watching myself. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Bitcoin, sirs and zers. Now, so man, cool. Let me scroll back up on over here. I see Mr. Josh, or Jared. Wait, Josh, Jared? What the fuck? Sorry, I'm so used to seeing Josh, but no, that's Jared. Sorry, apologies there, man. Happy 422 as well. Can you tell me how hard I'm going to get gaped on Jasmy? I don't know. Let's see. I haven't looked at this chart in a while, but it's one of those straight down charts, isn't it? Short term, looking for a rally back to 5 cents. Short term, looking for a rally back to 5 cents. Tell him what he's won. Don't think so, man. Really? I'm sorry, man. Look, I'm not trying to make fun of you, but the problem with it, okay, so if you're short term, to me, that means like 4 hour and under time frames. I'm on a daily right now, and quite literally short term back up to 5 cents is a almost 200% move. I would not put my eggs in that basket, to be quite honest with you. If anything, I think that you're probably likely to see a lower high. I think best it does see upside is maybe like 3 cents, to be honest with you. Now above 3 cents, I do think that you hit your 5 cent entry, but then you're at break even. I mean, you have to call a spade a spade. This is a garbage chart. This is an absolute garbage chart right here. there's nothing redeeming about this chart in my opinion at all whatsoever. The one potential hopium thing that I could point out is that you possibly have a higher low in the making right here. This higher low is completely irrelevant and meaningless as far as your 5-cent entry. It sounds like, as long as you're below about 3 cents. That is to say that until you get back above 3 cents, I think that you're very likely to see a lower high. And further downside over time. And it's just a question of where does the next lower high come in? Does it come in right here? I mean, that would be pretty aggressive. I think it's a little bit less likely, to be honest with you. If Bitcoin continues its rally, you probably find it somewhere around here between about 2.9 to 3.1 cent. Above 3.1 cent, yeah, I do think that you will get close to your target. Big area in between there is going to be like 4.3, just kind of the closing highs right here. But it probably does give you a chance to get out at a reasonably nice price. But the problem is, man, is when you're basically calling a macro reversal on something like this. I'm not going to be the person to feed you hopium on it, because I always go trend first. And in this case, for an asset that's never known what an uptrend is, even in one of the biggest parabolic bull markets of all time known to mankind, it's not wise in my experience, but doesn't mean that it can't happen. But I'd express serious concern somewhere around these regions right here, probably more around just under 3 cent or so. To be honest with you, I think that this is garbage, whatever the hell that it is. I wouldn't even be that surprised to see it put in a lower high right here and come back down towards 1.8 cent on the 4 hour. In fact, if you do see a 4 hour closure below 2 cents, you very likely see that move somewhere back down to your current lows at 1.7, between there and about 1.8. Pretty ugly chart, man. So you're going to need a very, very strong Bitcoin and broad market to bring that highly esteemed piece of technology back up to the moon. D Visible says, hey, nice name. S Fund on weekly daily. Okay, S Fund? What do I know this name from? Oh, god damn, it's crypto, motherfucker. Seedify on Gate.io or KuCoin, maybe KuCoin, or sorry, maybe Gate. Again, another absolute garbage piece of shit chart right here. What the fuck, man? Sorry. Weekly. There might not be much of a weekly here. Yeah, the weekly that okay, so there's one somewhat redeeming quality about this, and it's not great, but if I want to feed you a little bit of hopium, you're testing your all-time lows. You typically get a pity bounce around that region. To temper that statement out, you kind of already got your pity bounce over here, and it got rejected on yet again another lower high. Daily, just ugly as fuck, man. I wouldn't even consider this a potential local low until you're at minimum close and daily doodles back above 429. Above there, I would look for a decent rally, but again, not a reversal, but a decent rally just shy of $5, quite likely if I see something like that. And to be fair, you are building up some pretty significant drives of bullish divergence here on the daily, which is a good time frame for this one, or rather high time frame for this one. But look, man, again, it's the same thing as the last chart. It's like, look, if Bitcoin turns down, I would expect more of the same on this thing, which is very likely more down. 4 hour time frame, I wouldn't even bother looking at any upside or looking at any sustained upside until you're at minimum back above 415 on a 4 hour closing basis. Until then, just looks like another lower high to me. Looks ugly. Honestly, I think that this one's coming back down to 370, 380, and probably even trends towards new lows below there. But I would invalidate my statement with any sort of a closure above that 4 hour level, and then look for rallies up, somewhere between $4.50 to $5 or so. But again, I'm just looking for lower highs there. I don't think that this one's I don't think that this one's reversing. Here's the thing. For some weird god-awful reason in cryptocurrency land, people think that like these dead heartbeat of a charts where they just kind of go like this is good. You have to realize that, if you are looking for the reversal, the moonshot, if you will, it's unlikely to do this straight down and then go boom. It's very unlikely to do that. Every once in a while, you'll find a shitcoin that does that. It happens, definitely, but it's the exception, not the rule. Usually, if these things are ever going to do anything ever, what they're going to do is they're going to go down, 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 down until no one pays any attention, and then it's going to base over here, wait for the next market cycle, and then maybe turn up and probably put in a lower high somewhere right there, and then turn back down again, which is what we see on a lot of 2017 shitcoins in 2021. But yeah. Other than that, look, I'm not bullish on this long term. Just potentially short term moves the upside. Anything to $5 is very likely another higher, in my opinion. Anyways, Truco Production says waves pumping at the moment. Could you share your thoughts? Sure. I can try my best, man. I think last we looked at it, we were looking for sideways and perhaps another pullback over the long term. And yeah, I'm kind of looking at the same thing here. Let's see. No, I know that we had a chart for this one. It's got to be on KuCoin maybe. Okay, maybe I don't have a chart on this one. Oh, well, yeah, this one actually looks kind of like it's kind of ready for a bit of a bounce here. It might retest the lows one more time from this week, somewhere around like 19.5 bucks. That's fine. Let's see, what do indicators say here? Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, man. Typically, when you get that first test into the bearish controls and after being away from it for a while, you're just going to kind of bounce based off of, you know, some algos buying and some algos closing their short positions in this case. Wouldn't be surprised to see this one test back up towards maybe even close to 26 bucks. I think at best it does like 31 to the upside, perhaps in the next week or two. But do I think that this one's kind of topped out for a while? I do think that it's topped out for a while, and at best you're going to be ranging between about 31 and kind of where you're at right now. The hopium is that this is going to be your next major macro low. That hopium will be nuked below about 1775 on a higher term time frame closing basis. So any sort of a closure below there, and I look for this one to, you know, very likely come down significantly. To be fair, you know, there is some good reasons to believe that it at best goes sideways for a while, and I'm basing that off of weekly BBWP. You're back below the moving averages on this one now, so I do expect that you're probably going to trade sideways here, probably next move to the upside, but I don't think that this one's like trending towards new all-time highs from this exact moment. You also have 1, 2, 3 drives of weekly macro bearish divergence, which, I mean, you've already played out the big targets for that one, but if it gets the next big breakdown, you know, it probably gets sent down to like 11 to 13 bucks or so. But for right now, give it a chance to bounce. And where would I be wrong on this one? And I'd be looking for new highs. I guess if you start to close daily dildos above like, 37, 38 bucks, that'd be quite good. But until then, I think ranging at best and probably trades to the downside, to be fair. But I can definitely be wrong about that. I'd like to look at it again in like a couple weeks, but we'll see. Mike Armstrong says LTR and ASX. Okay, nice. We got a real stock, but it's on a shitcoin of an exchange. Sorry, but seriously, these Australian stocks, they kind of trade weird. But this one's good. This one's really, really good long term. Hey, this is what a good and good healthy asset looks like long term. I do think that you're going to see a more prolonged sideways reaccumulation on this one. That being with your current highs at about 202 and your current lows at about 129. Let me just see daily and weekly. Gotcha. I do think that you're probably going to be stuck in this range for a long time, and you probably test the downside a few more times, maybe somewhere down around here at about 140 or 1420 actually, which is a good number. Go sideways a bit, and if you can hold that way for the next like few months into end of summer, at that point I'd say that this one very likely does give another try to the upside, and any sort of a resolution above about $2 on a weekly, and you're very likely to see new all-time highs somewhere around $3 if I had to guess. Obviously long term, I would call a macro breakdown below about 129. If we're on a daily, this next move come to the upside or the downside, I think next move you probably test back down around about 155, maybe as low as 150 or so, and probably set up for a bounce there. I don't think that this one's going to like break down from here. I think it's more likely to trade sideways basically. Long term. Let's see. Okay, where did I leave off? I think Style Exteriors is next. He says, bruh, Link BTC is a poo-poo chart. Is it at bottom in your opinion? Daily, weekly? Let's check it out. Link BTC. Bitcoin pairing is going to be interesting, and actually today is going to be a very interesting day to just look at altcoins in general, because if we see some altcoins that look obviously bullish, I think that would make me really start to turn in favor of Bitcoin seeing continuation somewhere around like 43. In this case, Litecoin, Bitcoin, and you're on a daily and a weekly. Let's go to a weekly. Let's see what the macro says right now. I mean, yeah, you know what I'm going to say on this one, man. The hopium, I guess, is that, you're putting in a double bottom low right here. And fair enough, that's possible. That's possible. Do we have a chart? We do have a chart, but It's actually still relevant. I don't know when I made this chart last, but playing off the fibs incredibly well here. You can see it basing off the 1.272 after breaking this region right here off the prior range. You know, the hopium is basically this. We go down to a daily. It's this. It's like, hey, you're putting in an ever so slightly higher low right here, and as long as you do hold this low at 3,300 satoshis, well, that's okay. In order to confirm this as a major and macro low, actually would be trading and closing anywhere above this level right here. As I just slightly move it down, 39.50. Anywhere above there, I look for this one to put in big rallies, and probably the low is in at that point, or maybe I wouldn't say that the low is in, but I would be looking for a significant rally towards upper 4,000 satoshis region, which is a big move on this one. By contrast, you know, look, you got a downtrend. It's literally just broken down from your prior range. Any sort of continuation below 3,300, that last prior low, and I'm looking for this one to trade down over the following you know, weeks, maybe months, down to 2,500 and try for a low there. But yeah, if we're just looking at the chart as it is, I mean, whoops, let me put this on linear scale. Hard chart to love, man. Hard chart to love long term, but you know, give the hopium its due diligence for right now. If I look at the monthly, I think it's quite unlikely to play out like that. Just shooting you straight, but yeah, I think I'll just leave it right there. Okay, cool. Yummy, 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 says Krown. GMT on the hourly. All right, yummy. That's like that stupid fucking song. Girl, you got that yummy, yummy. It's like, what the fuck? I know I didn't read it. Can you turn down the volume on your alerts? My girlfriend thinks I'm tipping internet strippers. What? Welcome to the Amaranth. Welcome to the Mark B. Plums show. I heard Amornath. What the fuck is her name? Amornath.
Be respectful.
What? I am respectful. She's quitting OnlyFans. Why would she do that? Anyways, you are on an hourly. Okay. I'm actually curious to see the daily here. I mean, I remember we looked at this one earlier this week. I believe Mr. Venegas was looking at it. It's like one of the only charts that looked bullish, and it's like, all right, I'm kind of still bullish on this one. I need to ask about a daily or 4 hour, but I'm kind of using these to kind of gauge the more long term. I do think that you could pull back short term though. So if you are on the hourly, I do think it would be relevant to say that you probably do come back down and test around 320 first, but long term, I don't think that the high is in just yet. I would call a high in if you do. I would call a high if you do close an hourly delta below about 310. Until then, I do think that you probably trade a bit more sideways here, come down, retest this region, ideally set in a higher low, and then give another try to the upside, something like that. I do think that this one's probably getting pretty close to a local. Well. No, I can't really use a daily on this one, to be fair. Yeah, I think I'll just leave it off right there. To be fair, on the higher term timeframes, you are starting to create some divergences. Now, it won't be confirmed until you're below that 310 region. So below 310, I do look for much deeper corrections towards about 269 region. Until then, I do look at pullbacks as just likely to put in higher lows and maybe one more move to the upside or so. Okay, cool. Fucking buy the dip says, ape the gape. Any further target? Is the pump done? I don't know. It's been a while since we looked at this one, so let's see. Apecoin. Jesus Christ, that can get you banned from YouTube. Is the pump done? It depends what time frame you're on. Let's see. Hourly, I mean, I do think that you're coming into a bit of a short-term local high right here, but I don't think that the rally is done. If you're like on a daily, for example, I do think that this one does trade higher. This actually looks, decent here. Problem is, it's so new, so I can't really trust too many of my tools. I think the highest time frame I'd go is maybe like a 12-hour or 6-hour. Yeah, 6-hour here. I want to see BBWP get up to the at least 95 percentile. You're pretty up there right now, but that would imply maybe one more try around your current highs, or maybe slightly new higher highs at around $20. Let's see what the hourly looks like. Yeah, again, hourly, I do think you're going to trade sideways here and reaccumulate, but I don't think it's done just yet. Or at least I wouldn't call it done just yet. I would call it done if you start to trade back down below 1420. Another great number right there. But until then, I actually do think that this one probably is one more try to the upside. But man, it's fucking difficult with these very new charts. I always want to say with these super new charts, I don't feel that confident on them. But if I had to call it, I actually do think that you got maybe one more try to the upside after a short-term reconsolidation. Okay, let's see. I think Chris is next. He says, looking for any type of hopium on XLM. Oh God, you asked about the wrong one. Stellar, Stellar rumens, baby. Stellar fucking rumens. Hopium on the daily and weekly. Okay, here's the real hopium. The real hopium is that the broad market, namely Bitcoin and some of the other majors, complete their reversals and complete their bear traps. And then yes, everything's going to go up alongside of it, including XLM. But look, like this is not the one that's going to have like the fucking humongous outsized returns in comparison to other things within this market. This is, it's not the worst 2017 chart, but it's kind of like par for the course, I'd say. It basically retested its 2017 highs, never traded higher than that. In this case, the hopium here is that you're setting in a higher low on the weekly, and you're actually creating an inverted head and shoulders. Where does that get confirmed as a reversal formation? Above your last prior high, which is 23.5 cents. At that point, you probably trade up towards close to 30 cents or so, if that were to happen. Again, this is kind of hopium in my opinion. If you see any sort of weakness in Bitcoin, you're very likely going to see this one back down to your March lows and probably just trades lower from there. For right now, the earliest time I would confirm a daily reversal would be with a daily closure above about 21.5 cents. Above there, I do look for you to retest your quarter cent highs, and probably does trade higher than there over time, to be fair. And you're probably going to see Bitcoin well above its major regions as well. So it's just easier to watch Bitcoin in my opinion. At the same time, it's where would I call a short-term local high and probably start to play out all those higher term timeframes to the downside? Any sort of a 4-hour closure below 20 cents, I look for this one to retest its April lows first, probably a short-term bounce around somewhere around like 18.75, 19 cents, and then probably trades back down towards your March lows and lower than that over time monthly. Not a fan, man. But you look, if Bitcoin pulls through, everything else is going to pull through with it. This one probably just not as much. So it'll underperform to the upside and overperform to the downside. That's the state of the market, man. at least in my opinion. Cool. Botech, Trent Sink. What? Oh, sorry. Rigel or Rigel? Rigel is. Hopefully, I'm saying that properly. Rune, just one at a time, man. Rune, yeah, we can do that one. I think that might be more interesting as well. I did who? Yes, I did Stock Series. Yeah. Rune, and you're looking at an hourly, 4-hour, and daily. Okay. Yeah, Rune actually holding its lows really, really well. This is good, at least in comparison to most things we've seen today. However, short-term timeframes, as far as the 4-hour and the hourly will go, I would look at the same region on Bitcoin at about 41.5 or 41.6, depending upon whether you're using CME or spot, as 9.35 on this one, meaning that if you do start to close hourly, or if I'm using an hourly, maybe I move that up to 9.5. But if I'm using a 4-hour, I look at 9.35. If you start to close those timeframes above there, I do look for this one to go on a nice little run towards 10.25, maybe even more than that as well. It is one of the more stronger ones short term here, certainly. Problem is that if Bitcoin turns down and the whole market turns down, well, this one very likely turns down with it. Maybe it doesn't go down as much, but I would confirm this as a local high, thus confirming major drives of hidden bearish divergence here, going all the way back towards these highs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be quite nasty. And to be honest, there's a strong possibility that this does happen, but I wouldn't confirm that until you do close at least an hourly below about 875. Right now you are starting to see extremes on 4-hour BBWP with that divergence forming, and also 4-hour Joule in some pretty extreme positions right here. I do suspect that at best you're going to be pulling back and ranging, but if you do start to close below those regions, I would confirm this as a local high, thus confirming all of those drive of hidden bearish divergence, and probably targets back down south of or somewhere around $8, maybe a little bit lower than that. So I just don't think it's going to be immune from Bitcoin's movements. But look at a weekly. This is actually really, really good here. You have a bullish engulfing almost in order here. This would be really, really good. So if we go to a 5-day, maybe we can pull up some more hopium. Yeah, this would also make me massively bullish on this one, actually. If you see a 5-day closure, which is closing tonight above that, above last 5-day high, which is 937.5, I would look for this one to mount a rally up into the $12 to $13 region in the following weeks. And it'd probably be one of the more strong ones long term. So not bad. Bokeh Trent says, ooga booga booga booga. Definitely celebrating 420. Please, Krown, could you check out Colt for me, Mr. Oh, God. Colt. Well, at least I got the name right. On BitGet and Colt DAO. What the fuck? It's too new, man. I don't have an opinion on this chart. It's too new. Yeah, I don't have any useful opinion on this chart. Maybe there's like more on BitGet. Okay, well this is more helpful. Not good. Not good. Another drive of hidden bearish divergence on the hourly, probably trades back down towards your 22222 lows. I don't have an opinion on this chart like long term. It's too new, but for the information that we have thus far, not great. And I do expect that you trade further south. I would only call a short term reversal with an hourly closure above 28.65, and I would really only be looking at targets towards these highs over here on 16th of April at about 34 to 36 region. And not Colt to Dow. Dear Lord. Old Man Yeet says, do you think Taco Bell messed up discontinuing classics like the Mexican pizza and double decker taco? Oh my God, dude. It's going to be a big blow to college kids around the nation. God, I don't know how the fuck I survived college, because there was like a full year where me and my friends every night, like literally it was always between midnight at 12 and 1 a.m. we would go to Taco Bell because it's the only thing open, and like for $10 we could live like kings, which, you know, in college you kind of need. So do I think that they messed up? I think that is going to be a devastating blow to the college population of America, but probably for the best if we're thinking in terms of health consciousness, because it quite literally does have dog grade meat apparently, or sorry, not even dog grade, but like rat meat, something like that, man. It's some disgusting. It's not fucking good. Dude, the Mexican pizza getting discontinued is a tragedy, says Avanish. Fair enough. It's a tragedy. It's terrible, man. Terrible. You know what yeah, but it's a Mexican pizza, sir. When I went there, what did I like? I liked the Crunchwrap Supreme. That was the good one. And then I got like all of the Gorditos, and I didn't even know what the fuck they were. I was just like, it's all of them. You know, you have to be in the right mindset to go to a place like that. I don't know how the fuck we survived though. Like, we called it bulking, but it was just being fat fucks is what we were doing. Okay, I think we're on to the green ones now. So I think we start with Mr. Ahmed. I haven't even gotten a recording in today too. So I think this will be the first one for AVAX. Let's check out what this one's doing. I think this one's going to be more interesting, especially within the context of like kind of getting a general overview of what the market's doing. Looks like a lower high to me, man. Let's go to a daily first. Okay. Here we have Avalanche symbol AVAX versus the dollar, and I wanted to actually start off with the short-term timeframes first because they do correlate incredibly well to the higher-term timeframes right now, and I think that means that we can probably be a little bit more aggressive using short-term timeframes. Anyways, this one's pretty damn simple right here. A1.5 is the short-term timeframe and even the daily range highs right now, similar to Bitcoin at about 41,600 or so. Any sort of a 4-hour closure above there, and I do look for this one to put in a nice rally somewhere around 85 to 87 bucks, and probably even continues from there after a bit of a pullback. Problem is that you do have several signs that the rally is getting arrested right here, developing, not confirmed but developing, of which we do see many drives of hidden bearish divergence, of which this one would be a very exaggerated drive right here. We would have it, but problem is that you need to confirm a local high in order for that to be validated, and that would require a 4-hour closure below $78 or an hourly closure below about 77. If one of those two things happens, I would be looking for a move back down somewhere around $74 base, probably a short-term time frame bounce there, and then come back to it over time. Daily, same thing. Although if you do confirm that local high, I actually would be looking for this one to trade significantly down in the following weeks, probably somewhere down around about 69 bucks, those last lows from March. We do see incredibly low BBWP on the daily here, so this one is setting up for a move similar to what you saw in late March and middle of March. Both of these, one of these coming to the upside, the other one coming to the downside. But in the context of the last couple of moves here, we did see about a 40% move to the upside and about a 30% move to the downside, taking about a little over a couple weeks on average for those moves to play out. So we are baking a bit, or AVAX is making a big move on this one. So I do suspect that if you do choose the upside resolution, you're very unlikely to just stop at $85, except for like a short-term area. I do suspect that you probably would trade up towards the shallow 90s. And this one starts to look really, really good long term if that does happen, obviously, because this would start to be your reaccumulation right here. I do want to reiterate my stance. So, as long as Bitcoin's below its major regions, I do think that risk is lower first, probably somewhere to the mid 60s. But this one's still holding up relatively well. It's among the stronger charts that we've seen across this space. But it's just, if Bitcoin doesn't pull through, I suspect that most things probably won't as well. But you can also go check out stochastic momentum over here and see where sort of the pain points might be. Let's go to the daily first. Daily is going to be upside as long as you're above 74.5, which is good, obviously. 12 hours also vertical above 75, so it's actually looking okay. 4 hours turning down below $80, which you're currently below right now by a hair, and same thing with the 6 hour. So I would keep, it looks like short term, you're very likely going to see a short term pullback at minimum. The question is, does it validate below those specific regions that we highlighted earlier? If it does, I would extend those targets further down and probably does see those, I think it was $60 levels, mid 60s in the following weeks and tries for a low there. Until then, I think that the hopium is still alive, but I just need to see a little tappy tap push above about 81.5, and then targets the upside start to emerge, probably into the low 90s over the next couple weeks. Hopefully that's helpful. And there you go for AVAX, sir. Cool. All right, let me just reference this over here. Okay, got that. Hey, what's up, New? It's been a long time, man. Hope everything's well, dude. Let's see. Rolando P says a few questions. All right, maybe just one. Could you make a video dedicated to closures, Krown? These are things that are best addressed in my programs because for one, you have to kind of put some things in the programs, and also two, the video on that, well, there's actually multiple because there's some nuances with it, but that'd be like a multi-hour type of thing, and talk about them a bit right now, especially in long-term timeframes. I mean, what do you mean making a video dedicated on closures? Do you just want the definition of closure? I mean, just literally when the candle closes, man. But I'm guessing that's probably not what you're asking. And then you also want me to look at a goddamn shitcoin. Motherfucker, Rolando. All right, we'll look at EOS. This will just be easier than dealing with that for the time being. EOS actually out okay right here. Actually, EOS looks like it probably wants to make a leg up towards 275. But I don't understand what you mean. Can you make a video on closures? That's a closure is just a closure. It just means that the time frame has ended. That's all that it means, man. If I'm looking at EOS, it actually looks like it's put in a low here. I'd actually be looking for it to trade up somewhere around $2.90 to $3, barring any sort of catastrophic fall in the broad market. Yeah, it actually looks like it's put in a bit of a low here. Long term, terrible, absolutely god awful. But if it wants to rally $3.50 to $4 over the next few weeks, certainly not out of the question. I would like to see a 4 hour closure above 269. So I'm just using range highs. So maybe you're asking this. What I'm doing here to kind of judge continuation is I'm using the range highs. And then I just want to see a closure above those range highs on a wick. I want to see a closure above the wick high range highs, if that makes sense. And that to me indicates that continuation is very, very likely. That's essentially what I'm saying. We're so baked that the entire chat is bombed by Taco Bell and Jack in the Crack. Yeah, dear Lord, man. Rogue American says, yo, Krown, thanks, man. Happy to have found someone as hairy as me. Dear Lord, yes. Dude, my hairs show up in all portions of this apartment. Elsa is, she's actually disgusted because my hair, I'll go to the table to sit for eating breakfast, for example, and then just hairs come from everywhere. This problem is they're falling off my fucking head. Happy 422 as well, my friend. Martin Hunt, there he is. Good morning to you, man. Could you do a general overview on XMR? Yeah, this one was one of the few ones looking bullish the other day, and I expect it's probably doing pretty well after that move, and it is. Hey, it is. Not bad. I think this one continues, man. This is kind of boding well for the general broad market. Again, until these local high, unless if these local highs get validated as local highs, this one makes me think that we see higher. I wouldn't be surprised to see this trade up towards $285 to $300. Pretty good. Yeah, where would I validate the next continuation move, or have we already validated it? Yeah, I would actually say so. I'm bullish on this thing, especially as long as you're above 235. I'm looking sideways and up on this one. 4 hour time frame. I think that you're seeing another higher low right here. It's starting to get pretty aggressive, but I think that you got one more move. On the shorter term time frames, probably play out 2 extremes here on the BBWP and then go for a correction. But daily, yeah, I think daily is more, man. Yeah, one of the better charts. Definitely among some of the better charts that we've seen today. No doubt about that. What about the 5-day, which is closing today? You know, especially if you see the 5-day close above about basically here or higher, anywhere above 260 would be really, really good. I'd be looking for the next couple weeks to trade up towards close to $300, maybe more. I have nothing bearish to say about this thing, especially as long as you're above about 235. So yeah. Anthony Wildman says, all poo-poo times are PP times, but not all PP times are poo-poo times. Yes, I just did Martin. But not, that's actually really true. That's actually quite true. I've noticed that myself as well. It's like every poo-poo also gets finished with the PP. That's how I know that I'm done as well. It's like, oh, we're leaking out of both ends now. So it's time to wrap this bitch up. David Davian says, can you look at Power Ledger? Yeah, timeframes would be massively helpful, but we can look at it. This was the old Superman shitcoin. I'm doing the one that just came in. That's yellow. What? What are you doing? Again, I don't know what time frame you're going off of. All right, let's just give the full look on this one because long term, absolutely god fucking awful. But in the short term, not so bad. For on a 4 hour, local high will be confirmed on this one below 50 cents. If that does happen, I'd look for this one to come back down towards the lows of the week and probably set up for a trending move lower. Until then, where would I call a sort of local low confirmed here with targets up short term to 55, but more medium term time frame targets towards 59 to 60 cents would be with a daily closure above 53.5, or maybe we could do this on a 4 as well. If I'm looking at a 4 hour, nah, I'd probably wait for the daily. I mean, this is an altcoin after all, so I don't think it's wise to be aggressive on these. But to be fair, you know, in this price section over here, not so bad. Long-term, like very long-term macro, terrible. But I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. If I had to call it right now, I kind of have to be leaning towards upside continuation. But again, that gets completely nuked below 50 cents. Yeah, and you have, again, some very exaggerated drives of hidden bearish divergence forming alongside volatility seemingly setting up for a contraction phase here. So, well, look, if Bitcoin turns down, this one's going to turn down right alongside of it. All right, cool. Let's see. Eugene says, hourly and 4 hour and daily short. Okay, okay, just one, but we'll do Ethereum. Okay. I'm sure someone else will ask about Luna anyways, and that'll be fine. Actually, I just got Ethereum over here. Back to 31. Okay. Actually took a loss on Ethereum yesterday. Nice little trade, but didn't work out. Went into the loss column for that one. Anyways, Ethereum, pretty cut and dry on this one. Let's actually record it. All right. Here we have Ethereum versus the dollar, and what do we have right here? Well, we do have a bit of a range high test right around the 382 Fibonacci retracement, which is 31.25. That is to say that any sort of a closure above there, I do look at as a range resolution. You probably see Bitcoin above its relevant regions as well, and I would increase short-term targets back up somewhere around just shy of 3,200 at the 0.5. I do believe that things would have a short-term pullback right there. How far down does it go? Don't know, but anywhere above 31.25 is fine, and just another higher low. And very likely does set up for a continuation move towards the 618, which is 32.60 to 32, well, somewhere around here. Of course, just like Bitcoin, until that continuation condition is fully validated, you do have a potential lower high in the making here, and you would have potential hidden bearish divergence in the making here as well. Problem is, just like the upside validation is not confirmed, the downside validation would also not be confirmed. Any sort of an hourly closure below 30.40 would confirm this whole structure right here as a nice little lower high, and I would be looking for this one to retest its lows of the week at 2,900 or just below 2,900 potentially, and probably sets it up for a lower. But for right now, Ethereum's actually acting pretty damn well, and if I am going to make a connection between this and Bitcoin, I do think that this bodes well for Bitcoin in this case. Bless you, sir. And any sort of even a validation above that 4 hour time frame range high, honestly, I'd be looking for this one to move back up somewhere around 3,300 overall before like the next sort of generalized pullback. 5-day time frame also closing today as well, and yeah, any sort of a closure above there, I actually would be looking at this one as very likely to trade up towards 33, maybe even 3,400 in the coming weeks. And then of course on the macro scale, if you're looking at 3,400, that is where I start to confirm this as a macro low with targets up towards, you know, some around $4,000 if that were to happen. So I do give the upside its due diligence here, but I do need to see that confirmation. It would look really good to see a daily above about 31.25 or 31.30 if you want to be like super conservative. But one of those two is fine by me, and I would be looking for a general move back up towards your prior highs from early April and probably beyond over time. Until then, do be aware that if this does confirm a local high right here, just like Bitcoin, I'm looking for lows to be retested and probably new lows incoming somewhere down around about 2,800. Let's go check out let's go check out momentum over here just to see if it aligns with that and kind of gives us an idea of what's more likely. Daily is vertical above 29.39. Okay, so that's, well, pretty good for right now. 12 hours also vertical above basically the same number, 29.30. Buy daily is still nosediving below 33333. 5-day is going to freshly turn down below 32.32. So, you know, it's kind of in a precarious place because the short-term timeframes are also getting towards extremes here. 4-hour turns down below 30.66, so obviously still far away, but, you know, relevant, I suspect. And 3-hour turns down below about 31.09. So, yeah, man, kind of a long way of saying, you know, I still look at this one as a range resolution play, but if it does resolve to the upside, there's a big move there. If it resolves to the downside, you're going to see bounce along the way, but probably does slink its way down to like 2,800 overall with a bounce around your current low at about 29. Cool. FA says happy, or whoops, let me, there we go. FA says happy 420, sir. Thoughts on SPA? Okay, it's a new one. SPA on Huobi. Oh, we probably got to do this. All right, this is definitely a new one for me, man. And you're saying daily and weekly bull and bear case. Weekly is sitting on 62 fib. I like the risk reward if Bitcoin breaks range to the upside. Love you too, sir. Okay, so you're looking at, oh, you're talking about a fib right there. Let's see. All right, so not a whole hell of a lot of history here. Where would I confirm this one as a local low? If you want to go buy the book, it's 17.5 cents. And yeah, at that point, I do look for big moves up somewhere around 20 cents. I mean, this thing trades very, very bizarrely. It's definitely not amongst the strongest ones that we've seen today, but I do think that the hopium is alive for you as long as you're above basically 1480. Any sort of a 4-hour closure, make that 1470, any sort of a 4-hour closure below there, and I look for this one to have continuation to the downside, probably back down towards 12.5 cent lows. So that's kind of what's at stake right here. You know, I think that you've played out all of your bearish divergences here. If anything, I'd say it's a little bit more likely to break to the upside than the downside. But, you know, just as you correctly identified, if Bitcoin breaks out to the upside, you know, you're very likely to see this one probably trading around about 20 cents or so. I do think, however, that this one's topped out for a while, though. So if it does make its way back up to 20 cents or 19 to 20 cents, I do look at that as a really good area to kind of arrest any potential rallies. Yeah, if I was just looking at this chart, I do think that it comes down. But if you're just asking for the bull and bear case, well, that would be it as far as I'm concerned. I would err on the side of caution with stuff like this. I don't really have too much to add on to it other than that. Hopium basically alive as long as you're above 1470. And then pray for Bitcoin, I guess. All right, sweet. Oh, wait, what's up, Jack? What's up, Jack? Holy shit. Okay, we need to close the comments. I did not realize that things just exploded right there. Happy 420, man. Ethereum, Bitcoin, yes. Or, oh, no. Well, shit, I should have included that in the video. Oh, well. There's always next time. 4-hour and daily. I do want to see the general on this one. Yeah, interesting here. All right, let's go back down to the daily. Daily range, and you're actually operating on higher lows, and you will have hidden bullish divergence right here. If you do confirm a local low, which will very likely retarget the highs of this rally at 7.7 and probably beyond, probably continuation. So how would you confirm a local low here? Very simply put, even a 4-hour closure above about 7.5 and change would be it for me. And I would be looking for a retest of your current highs of this rally and probably new highs. That's going to confirm that hidden bullish divergence on the daily, which should be rather strong. 4-hour time frame, yeah, any sort of a 4-hour closure above 7.5339 is where I'd say. Yeah. Shit, I could even maybe move that down to 7.525. That would be okay as well. Until then, do be aware that this one will confirm a bit of a short-term reversal below, especially 7.6 million Satoshis, with targets back down towards your range lows at about 7.33 to be exact. Somewhere around here, basically on the 4-hour 200. Probably another short-term bounce there, and then I probably wouldn't say anything more than that. What's up, Bear Nutrition? We already did Apecoin, and also that sounds racist, man. Yeah, other than that, what does a 5-day look like right now? Man, this one's either setting up for like a major fucking move to like well north of 8 million Satoshis, or you're literally seeing it top out here for a long time. This one's been... Does the monthly still have it as well? Yeah, the monthly still has potential hidden bullish evidence. Man, this one actually could explode, I guess. I just want to see it really above that 4-hour resolution, but yeah, that's kind of what I'd be looking at for right there. You do have a drive of phantom div kind of forming. I'm not a humongous fan of these ones that come in the neutral zone, but let's see. Maybe over here we'll give another perspective. Where's the daily level specifically? Daily level turns up above 7.7529. All right, so that's probably not happening today. Weekly is vertical. 5-day is well up there at 7. Yeah, I just go by ranges in this case. I'm actually not getting anything that's like super obvious other than that. Kind of tough one, actually. A lot more difficult than Ethereum. John Johnson says, does any asset consistently predict the movement of Bitcoin, and do you look at the correlation, or do you look at every asset independently? Basically, are there any reliable predictors? You could, I mean, everyone knows that NASDAQ, the tech sector kind of correlates quite well to Bitcoin, but look, man, here's the God's honest truth. If you're trading an asset, it's best to just fucking trade that asset and not conflate it with a shit ton of other, things and confounding variables. It's just not necessary. It's not needed. And it's always going to be more relevant to look at the asset that you're trading at hand because, well, whatever signal that you're getting there is most relevant to that asset, obviously. Now you can look at other assets to kind of get a general idea. I do that with Bitcoin, with like Dixie, with Tether Dominance, and with traditional markets, namely NDX, and if I just want to look at the tech sector, XLK. But am I using that in my actual trading? No, I don't care. I think it's best to simplify, and the people who are like really looking for these, oh, there's a little correlation right here, like that's great, but how are you going to trade that? And I know that there are ways to trade it, obviously, but I think it's just overcomplication for the sake of overcomplication because it looks, fancy and, doesn't get you better results. I think it's always gonna be better. It's always gonna be more it's always gonna be better to be more specific, right? It's just like if you're gonna do weightlifting, weight training. If you want to grow your arms, do fucking arm lifts. Don't do back, even though it'll have like a little bit of help with it. Focus on the thing that is direct. It's always gonna be best. D says deeper network. Another shitcoin miner. Okay. All right. Deeper. All right. Okay. New one for me. Terrible. Absolutely fucking god awful. Yep. Shitcoin, please came and take that one away. Terrible. I don't have an analysis on this. My analysis is all bounces fail, and it would be a gift from God if this thing ever got back to like 8 or 9 cents, and probably that would be the next major high for a very long time. Awful, man. Awful. Gonzo90 says, give Daddy Brian coin daily a gander. Okay. Coin, give Daddy Brian. Yeah, I think that this one's putting it a low right here, actually. I think it tries up from here, probably somewhere up short term to 157 to 160. I do think that it could trade even as far as high as about 166 to 167 region. Long term, not a big fan of the chart, but I do think that you're getting ready for a short term upside move. Yeah, short term very likely trades up from here. I'm guessing that you got many drives of bullish evidence. 1, 2, good enough. Yeah, I'm looking up somewhere around about probably closer to like 159, 160ish region short term. Probably pulls back and then sets it up for a move towards like 170ish. Other than that, I don't really have a strong opinion. Let's see. Shane is next. Mr. Shane Bausch says LKE on ASX. Okay. LKE. All right. Okay, Lake Resources. Daily weekly is the party over with a weekly higher high with bearish divergence and bound. Yeah, I think you're very, very close here, if not already there. Whenever I see something like this with like multiple extremes on weekly BBWP, I think maybe you have maybe like one slight more drive at best, but ultimately the high is either already in or basically in. You know, like in this case, what your current high is like 270, like maybe it trades up to $3 if you're lucky, but I think that that's hopium right now. 1, 2, 3 drives of weekly bearish divergence plus extremely high volatility, very likely to put in a high here and confirm it over the next like month to month and a half. It'll be fully confirmed below 183, and at that point I would be looking for targets down towards 140, maybe even as far south as like 120. So yeah, I'd agree with you. Cool. Oh man. Welcome back from Dubai, my fucking man. Good to be back. Echo Zien says APUSD. Yep, we got that one. Or Atom. Okay, we can do Atom. Cosmos we haven't done in a long time. Very similar ranges here to Bitcoin. Same thing as like 41.6 is like 25 and 15. Until you're above there, you do technically have hidden bearish divergence forming. So it's going to be rather important to actually retake that region or just root for Bitcoin in the short term. I would confirm this is a local high and a lower high with any sort of an hourly closure below about $24. That would be the concerning thing. Until then, hopium does remain alive, and you know, if Bitcoin continues to rally, you probably see this one at like $25 or so. It's a little bit relatively weak in the short term though. Yeah, daily. Wouldn't be asking for too much to get another extension on this rally. Colt Dow, yep, we got that one. Mr. Josh, so all good there. Echo Zien says Luna. Yes, we can do Luna. Let's record this one as well. Okay, let me get my thinking ready over here. And you're looking at 4 hour daily, close $90. Is it a reversal? Depends what time frame you're on. If you're on a short-term time frame, yes. If you're on a higher-term time frame, I don't think that we're there just yet. This would have been the short-term, or sorry, this would have been the 4 hour target based off of a range resolution above, I think we were looking at $90 before. Let me see where my chart is. Yep, $90 right there. So probably looking at a bit of a short-term pullback from this region, but do I think that this one has lower to go over time? Possibly yes, but for right now, I mean, we're getting that bounce that we're looking at in the mid to low 70s. We got down to 75. It's pretty fucking good right here, man. Actually, let's go to a 5-day. 5 days pretty good as well. Putting in a bullish engulfing for right now. Any sort of a closure above here, I'd probably be looking for this one to trade back up towards $100 at least. Let's see. All right, here we have Terra Luna symbol LUNA versus the dollar. Sebastian Vol has a really good comment. Just going to point that one out. 5-day though, closing today, however, is putting in a bullish engulfing as of right now. That'll be confirmed upon daily closure anywhere above 92.16. And at that point, I would actually increase targets towards about a 100 to 102 region. So I want to go over this one a little bit more because long term we've been pretty on this one. Now, a couple weeks ago in early April, we did say that, hey, based off of the regular bearish divergence, that would imply targets down to mid to low 70s. We got that move. Now we're getting the first bounce from that move. So all of this is looking good thus far. The problem is that if you don't confirm that bullish engulfing on the 5-day, I would be looking at this area specifically. We can get rid of this one for right now. It's not super relevant. We can get rid of this one for right now. Same reason. I would look at $97.50 as a big area, meaning that as long as you're below there, I do expect a pullback down to 89 to $90 first. Still as higher lows the whole way through, and not really concerning here for any continuation to lower, anywhere like majorly lower towards like the mid to low 60s until you start to close 4 hour dildos back below about $83.50 to $84. So this one is certainly amongst, or perhaps even one of the strongest ones that we've seen today that actually has history for it. Long term, weekly has the same sort of bullish engulfing going on, which is good. and does have a drive of hidden bullish evidence that will also be confirmed as soon as end of this week. And the 5-day could actually do it today if it confirms here or higher. So I would be looking for that. You know, I do think that this one probably has a higher probability of testing the upside first, but I would express long term that there is still a risk of another downside move as long as you're below about $1.04. That's kind of where I do look at this one as breaking out to likely new all-time highs if that level does get closed above on even a daily. Monthly, it's okay, but not really much to talk about right there. Maybe we go check out momentum oscillators and see what they are looking like right now. Alrighty, okay, and daily. Daily's vertical above 77 or even below there as well. 5 days turning down below 105. So higher term timeframes are still giving me kind of corrective signals for right now. Weekly turns down below 99. 12 hour should probably be vertical as well, above 77 here too. 6 hour. Short term down below 93.5, which you are currently ever so slightly above. Same thing on the 4 hour at 93. So, you know, if I had to call this one right now, I actually do think it's going to pull back from here, probably come back down towards $89 to $90. That's not super concerning. I'd really only be concerned on this one if you do start to close 4 hour dildos below that $88 region. At that point, I do look for this one to retest around your $80 lows. Again, I'm not calling like any major continuation of the downside first. I think this one's probably most likely to range here. And until then, you know, if Bitcoin moves to the upside, if Bitcoin gets this breakout above about 41.6 or so, I'd really be looking for this one to trade back up into the shallow $100 region. That's going to have greater implications for bigger moves down the road. Until then, I think they're kind of ranging, and I do think that there actually is a pretty good chance that you get that move lower over time, but it probably takes a couple months if it's going to happen. But for right now, not relevant to even, you know, position for, in my opinion, as long as you're above, you know, that mid 80 pivot. So hopefully that's helpful. And there you go for Luna, sir. Cool. Nice. AK Makar says UOS. Yeah, sorry guys, we had to close the chats. We do have to be cognizant of the time going on here. AK Makar says UOS, please, 4 hour. All right. Yeah, what's up with all the shitcoins? For real. Finex, 4 hour. Hopium remains alive as long as you're above a dollar even. Until then, I'd be looking at 110 as your last range high, and any sort of a 4 hour or even an hourly closure above there. I do look for, you know, some decent continuation to 116 to maybe even 120 would look okay. Long term, actually not bad long term. It's okay. It's actually pretty good long term. Holds its higher lows. You know, if I'm looking at the daily, I think upside is actually a little more likely towards that 115 to maybe even 120-ish region. But that'll be negated with a 4 hour closure below, or even an hourly closure below sorry, not $4, but $1. So I kind of do favor a little bit more upside here. Again, easy to watch Bitcoin. Sass Ankle says FXS. Okay. FX. Is this a stock? Guessing this is, no, it's fucking crypto. All right. Daily, weekly. Let's see if it has a daily and weekly. It looks like it will not have a weekly, but it will have a daily. Good, actually pretty good. One of the better charts we've seen today. I'd actually be looking for this one to retest its highs from early April, probably somewhere around 38, maybe $40. Yeah, one of the better charts. I mean, just a reaccumulation, higher low right here. I'm looking for this one to retest its highs. Probably even tries higher. 4 hours trending right now. I'm looking for this one somewhere around 39 to $40. It's good. You entered along at 34. Nice. You basically bought the higher low. So easy to manage something like that. Below 33.5, that trade falls apart, at least in my opinion, but for right now, good. Tor says, Cardano thoughts and targets. Sir, without a fucking time frame, there is absolutely zero way to come up with a target or a strategy as well. But I understand that, you know, people on the internet will do these things, which kind of lulls people into like this false sense or misunderstanding of essentially the limitations of technical analysis. Thoughts on it? I think long term, generally speaking, you know, it's pretty abysmal chart. But you know, if the rest of the market rallies, this thing's gonna rally with it, and it's probably gonna rally back up towards 102 to maybe even 110 or so. I think that you potentially have a macro higher low right here, which would be obviously long-term bullish. But the question is, more importantly, where does that get destroyed? And then where would the downside targets be after that? That would get destroyed below 91 cents on a daily closure. So if you do close below 91 cents on a daily, I'm looking for this one to come back down, probably test around 65 cents or so. give or take a little bit from that number. Until then, macro long term, which I'm guessing you're probably more interested in, but I have no idea because you didn't include a time frame, would be any sort of a move back above your March highs, which is about $1.25, and I'd be looking at this one as putting in a macro reversal with targets up 160, maybe 190 long term. For right now, it's kind of fighting its way along, but I wouldn't even call a short-term time frame range resolution until you're at minimum back above like 97.5 cent. It's usually one of the weaker ones, so I would, it's going to underperform to the upside, overperform to the downside. Again, just easier to watch Bitcoin. If Bitcoin has its resolution to the upside, you're probably going to find this one somewhere around 105, give or take a little bit, and then other than that, not really strong opinion. CC says stock ZIM. Okay. Oh, we got a real stock. That's good. Zim integrated. All right. Daily and weekly supply chains for the win. Yeah, I think you're bouncing here. Probably trades up to 63 3/4. Maybe a little bit higher than that. Yeah, somewhere around there. Sorry, actually, might even see it extend past a little bit past $65 on the weekly. So over the next couple of weeks, I think you're generally bouncing here, but at the same time, I want to be very specific in saying this. I do think that the highs are in on this one. Well, yeah, I do think that the highs are in, but next move very likely to the upside. And the question is, where does the move get some pushback? I'd really only call a new all-time high in this case if you see like daily closures above 78, which I don't think is happening, but can definitely be wrong on that. That's where I know I'm going to be wrong. A.K. McCarr says, hey, RMRK for and day. Okay, RMRK. Yeah, I did all the ones above it, yes. RMRK. Again, another one where it's like long term, not a fan of this chart at all, but next move do I think is to the upside? Yes, probably somewhere around 16. 4-hour time frame will negate that and confirm hidden bearish divergence and another local high and a lower high below 1450, basically 1460. And at that point, I do look for your lows to get retested at 13.25. Until then, if Bitcoin takes out its range highs, you're probably looking at this one around 16.25. Long term, sir, for the love of God. But if Bitcoin moves up, this one will as well. Long term would be really, really good above about 22 and 15 cents, but it's quite far away. If you were to trade above there, I'd actually interpret that as potentially a macro reversal with big targets up towards your mid to upper 30s long term if that were to happen. A little bit of hopium there too. Mr. Aurora says, hey Krown, what's up, man? ALCXK. AL. Did I get it? Yeah. All right, on FTX specifically, 4-hour. Gotcha. Man, this thing, oh my God, this thing really does only go down. I mean, again, man, if Bitcoin shows any weakness, this thing's coming back down to 74 and probably goes for new lows. I think best it does to the upside is about 83, 84 bucks. Already has a drive of hidden bearish divergence in place. You could even say that might already be confirmed, but I'd wait for an hourly below 78.25 and then all the way down to 73 is where I'd be looking for. And probably just new lows after that. I mean, this thing's only ever really gone down, man. It's just so difficult to call the reversal on something like this. Reversal talk can't even happen on a 4-hour until you're at minimum back above 96 and 40. So it's like if Bitcoin shows any weakness, this thing is going to absolutely spit it out. And if Bitcoin shows any strength, I think best it does the upside is like maybe 84 on the short term. All right, Justin, last one, man, last one. LYXE. LYXE. This thing, Luxo Madixco, daily and weekly. Let's get off the 4-hour. The question is, are you putting a low here or not? Well, you put in a low and you confirm a local low on the daily above 13.5. At that point, big targets up towards 15 plus. Long term, just one macro range at best. Range lows at 10.5, range highs at 21, short-term highs at about 17.25. I think you give it the benefit of the doubt. I mean, long term, it's not bad. Like, it holds its higher lows on the log. Actually looks quite good, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does something like this, and then maybe gives a try if it can kind of hold these lows. But long term, it's actually good as long as you're above 10.5. I do think that this one generally will give another try to the upside over time, but short-term time frames like a 4-hour, I'd call a move up towards like $14.5 to $15 if you do see a 4-hour closure, basically above 13 and a quarter. Until then, it's just as with all of these. I mean, you can always kind of fall back on just look at Bitcoin. It's going to be easier. To be fair, you still have lower highs here, obviously. So technically speaking, you do have to kind of lean towards the long-term bearish side. But if you do see any sort of move back above, especially like 16, 17 bucks, that's going to be really, 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 really good long-term. Other than that, I don't really have a strong opinion on it. If I had to call right now, I think it probably gives another try to the upside. But I'm not too married to that idea, especially if Bitcoin turns down. You'd very like to see this one turn down as well. If you're on a 4-hour time frame, I'd say that will be confirmed below $12 with a move back down towards, again, the lows of this week, and then probably a little bit lower than that over time towards 11 and 10.5, and then probably another bounce there. Other than that, I think it's a good place to leave this one off, sirs and zers. It's been a lovely stream here, my friends. I want to wish everyone a nice and healthy and happy holiday season. Fun times. We had Easter. We have 420. It's a good week, my friends. Like you smash your wife. Wait, what the fuck did you say? And there he is. What's up, Venegas? We were actually talking about you earlier, man. Don't forget to smash the like you smash your wife. That is going to be interpreted in some terrible ways. We are not suggesting that you beat up your significant other. Smash like fuking. Well, you know that people who are married don't do that. Anyways, just wrapping up my thoughts on Bitcoin here. Again, I think CME is the more clean and cut chart. Any sort of a 4-hour closure or even an hourly closure above that 41.7 pivot, especially if you're using an hourly, I would call that a range resolution. There's going to be stops along the way, but I would be looking for a general move up to 43 before the next kind of like medium-term time frame pullback. By the same token, Bitcoin will confirm a local high and, confirm many drives of hidden bearish divergence with all momentum oscillators pointing down with any sort of a move. So especially below 40,200, but even a closure on a 4-hour below about 40,400 would do it for me. Until then, I think that short term, there is some hopium for some continuation, but same sort of conditions as yesterday apply. Anyways, with that said, I want to wish everyone well. Take care and see you soon.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, fix or pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it.